Hello, Sagittarius. This is Adrian Igo, Capricorntigress from Astrology, A Look Inside. And I am here to do the monthly August reading for Sagittarius. And you guys are so awesome. I love Saggies. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in here. I'm going to go ahead and start off by just taking a quick look at the solar chart I wrote up for my Saggies. The big thing that I see, there's several areas of emphasis for you, but you know, you guys have had Jupiter in Scorpio in your 12th house for a while now, and I'm sure you've been feeling that. Now, the crazy thing, 12th house, Jupiter is abundance, right? And 12th house is self-undoing. Well, privacy, subconscious stuff, things you do in private, the hidden power behind a throne, you know, that type of thing. But I think when Jupiter goes into a sign like Scorpio, and Scorpio goes into a house like the 12th house, I think that's all positive. And the reason for that is that, you know, the 12th house is a Pisces house. It's a natural water house. It is so happy to have Scorpio Jupiter there right now. It doesn't even know what to do with itself. It's so happy because it's, you know, other than having Jupiter in Pisces in the 12th house, I don't know what else it would make it more happy. Now, the thing is, I just wanted to mention that, what was that I was going to look up here about that 12th house? Oh, on the 19th, Jupiter trines Neptune at 15 degrees. 15 degrees, 36 seconds of Scorpio. And that, of course, will be the same at Pisces. And so this Scorpio, Jupiter in your 12th house is going to be trine this Neptune in Pisces that's down in your 4th house. Now, it's a positive thing because it's a trine, so we'll go with that. But the thing is, you know, whenever I see the 12th house and the 4th house like that, that usually indicates like family. That's your family. The 12th house, by the way, is your grandmother's family. So I could see, like, you know, people from your grandmom's side of the family, that type of thing. That should all be very positive for you, by the way. If you want to know where your luck is this year, it's with your grandmother's side of the family. Okay? Just know that. Also, Pisces in the 4th house with Neptune down there. You know, Neptune's creativity, and it's like, you know, the highest octave of love. And I could see Saggies, you know, just really loving their families right now, and that's really important to you. The other thing I wanted to discuss with you guys is the fact that Venus is going to enter Libra on the 6th. And Venus is really kind of sitting up very high in your horoscope anyway, because you've got Virgo on the 10th house, and you know, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on Virgo and Virgo planets as the month goes on. So, I mean, you've got Venus sitting up in the 10th house anyway, all throughout the month, or in the beginning of the month, up until the 6th in Virgo. But then it enters Libra, where Venus is at home and where it is like exalted. It loves being in Libra, and that's going to be in your 11th house of friends and hopes and dreams and wishes. It's very positive. It's a very positive place to have your Venus, and so there will be a great emphasis there on friends and organizations, and you know, just the happy times when it comes to your hopes and dreams. The sun starts out in Leo. It enters Leo on the 22nd of July. It's in your 9th house. Mercury is retrograde there with it in Leo. And the North Node is also in Leo. Now, Mercury is going to retrograde or actually go direct out of, well, it just goes direct. It's probably going to stay in, it is going to stay in Leo up until the 5th of September. But it goes direct on the 19th of August. And that happens in your 9th house. Now, Mercury in the 9th house, I don't know how that's been manifesting with you, because I always think of the 9th house as like a great place for Mercury to be, even though it's the natural planet that rules the 3rd house, which opposes the 9th house. But the 9th house rules higher education, like college and universities and philosophy and politics and religion and your dogma and you know, legislative things and lawyers and court trials and travel and all of those things like that. And also it rules the in-laws. So I could see where, you know, I was talking about your grandmother's side of the family. You might have had to deal with your in-laws as well. You know, that is something that the 9th house rules. And so the emphasis has been on that 9th house, especially with the North Node being in Leo. It's what you're supposed to be doing. Because I always say wherever the North Node is what we need to put that emphasis on. And in your case, it's the 9th house. And it's going to go direct, as I mentioned, on the 5th of Mercury, 5th of September, Mercury goes direct in the sign of Virgo. And that will place it in your 10th house, placing even more emphasis into your 10th house, because the sun enters Virgo on the 23rd of August. And so then the emphasis will be on your 10th house then. This is very good for your career, very good for the image that you know, that you want to, the image that you want to portray, and your reputation, and how people think about you, and you know, whatever legacy you're going to be leaving behind. Your sun and your Mercury are going to, you know, be there through the last week of, well, the sun will get there in the last week of August, but in September it's going to be it's going to be shining up there in the 10th house. Now, while the planets are in Leo, I would enjoy that, because you're a Sag, and so, you know, that's a natural trine for you. All that 9th house, that's a natural trine to you, and that should be good for you while it's in Leo. And speaking of trines, on the 1st of August, the moon is going to be conjunct Chiron in your solar 5th house of Aries. And so that's going to be unique too. I've just been talking about that because I think it's a unique type of conjunction. I wonder how it's going to play out for a lot of people. But that is your solar 5th house. So that could affect, you know, children, having children even, taking chances and things like that. But it's going to be a, you know, an emotional area, because that's your moon. And Chiron is the wounded healer, so it's going to be a little bit of a somewhat of a sad area for you. You've got Taurus, Uranus and Taurus in the 6th house, but it's only in the first few degrees, and it's going to retrograde out of Taurus and go back into Capricorn, or into Aries. So it's going to leave Taurus and go into Aries again, and that's going to go back, that emphasis is going to go back into your 5th house. For now, it's in the 6th house, in Taurus, and it will go out of Taurus in retrograde. Well, it retrogrades on the 7th of August. It'll, you know, at 2 degrees and 34 seconds. So it retrogrades at 2 degrees, 34 seconds on the 7th of August. Okay. So let me just go over some other things real quick. You got Saturn and Pluto in the 2nd house in Cap. Saturn might have made money issue for you over the last few months. You might feel like either you're making more money because you invested wisely, or you did the things that you needed to do prior to Saturn getting into Capricorn, or you're feeling a pinch like a lot of people, because Saturn is a restrictor. It's a great restriction. What I would say is to be very responsible in the area of money. Okay? That's the area where you should really exercise the most caution and responsibility is your money. Mars will be retrograding out of Aquarius and going back into the sign of Capricorn, and which is your second house, and it's going to be doing that. It retrogrades into Capricorn on the 12th. So you'll be feeling that on the 12th, and that'll go back into your second house. And I'm going to say this, I mentioned this earlier, Mars in Capricorn is a great place for it to be. I mean, it is, it's like, is that an exalted spot or something like that, or dignified? Mars loves being in Capricorn because it sees the big picture. And in your case, it's going to be in the second house of money. You're going to see the big picture when it comes to money, especially with Saturn there. It's making you more responsible when it comes to money and the things that you own and the things that you possess. So that should be a major, major area for you. I will just go over a couple of other things to keep in mind for the month. There's going to be a new moon partial solar eclipse at 18 degrees of Leo, and that's going to be happening in your 9th house, and that'll be happening on the 11th of August at 5:58 a.m. So be aware of that new moon. Of course, the new moon always can indicate new beginnings, and I could see you maybe registering for school again, you know, maybe starting that new beginning again, you know, if you want to increase your education, which many Sages like to do. On the 12th, as I mentioned, Mars retrogrades back into Capricorn. On the 19th, Mercury goes direct at 11 degrees of Leo. Goes direct at 11 degrees Leo. On the 19th, Jupiter also trines Neptune, and it is retrograde at that time. On the 23rd, the Sun enters Virgo, which I mentioned. And then on the 26th, the full moon is in Pisces at 3 degrees Pisces. And that's Pisces is a natural square to Sagittarius. And as I mentioned, you've got Neptune down there in the 4th house. And this is going to be happening in the 4th house. So I could see where that full moon could cause some type of emotional issue with your home life, or, you know, something to do with your family. So do be aware that that could happen. Mars goes direct on the 27th, as I mentioned, leaving the 3rd house, or solar 3rd house, going in or back into, or the 2nd house. It's going, because it retrogrades back into the 2nd house. So it's in the 2nd house, and it's going to be going back toward the 3rd house after it goes direct, because it goes direct at 28 degrees of Capricorn, and it's going to go back into Aquarius, in September. So do prepare for that. It's one of those things where it goes back and it goes direct into Capricorn, and then it's going to go back forward into Aquarius once again. On the 5th of September, Mercury enters Virgo, and on the 6th of September, Saturn goes direct at 2 degrees. Saturn will go direct in your 2nd house. And so if you've been experiencing any money woes, because Saturn retrograde in the 2nd house is always money woes. I mean, it always affects the money somehow. Now, unless you got one of those weird charts where Saturn retrograde just made you renew your vigor for money, and somehow you replenished your wealth during the retrograde. I always talk about the re things, but it will be doing that. Anyway, this is Capricorntigress, Adrian Igo of Astrology, A Look Inside, wishing all you wonderful Sagittariuses a fantastic August. May all your dreams come true in August. Wishing you much light and much love from Capricorntigress. Mwah. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.